welcome back to Toby Talks F1. This is the Australian Grand Prix race breakdown. So, what an interesting first race this was. So, going into this one, I wasn't sure really how this was going to sort of play out, because we've heard this and that about the regulations, and it was finally time to actually see these cars race in Grand Prix trim. What I didn't realise is that, so I set my alarm 3:58 and I got to my sofa at 4 o'clock just before the lights went out, and I was wondering, where is Oscar Piastri? I looked online and it said that he crashed on his lap to the grid. It looked like he got a ridiculous amount of energy that sent him, when he went onto the curb, he over revved it and the car just spun around, and by that point he was just a passenger. So I'm absolutely gutted as a McLaren fan, and Australians just don't seem to go well at this racetrack, it would seem. So the lights went out and away they went, and Leclerc in fourth in that rocket ship of Ferrari got into the lead into turn one. I was absolutely surprised by that. And also Lewis Hamilton got a really good start from his grid position as well. Kimi Antonelli, he bogged down, or he didn't have enough battery, they were saying actually, and he fell into the pack but somehow managed to claw his way through, probably because the Mercedes is quite a good car. Arvin Lindblad got up to P3 at one point, but then he got eaten back into the pack again, and he had Isaac Hadjar behind Lewis Hamilton in fourth for a few laps. And if we're going to get that race in for the first 19 laps in terms of 7 overtakes for the lead in 9 laps, I'm all for it. Like, incredible stuff. You could tell the Mercedes was the faster car, but it couldn't get away from the Ferrari. And I think this is going to be a trend throughout the season, is that the drivers are going to have to be tactical about where they deploy their battery. So if you're overtaking the car, that's well and truly good, but doesn't mean you're going to have that position for the next lap, because the driver will have his battery recharged and he can overtake you again. So as the season goes on, they're going to get on top of this, the teams, in terms of how they deploy their battery to overtake and stay ahead or defend. I thought it was quite fascinating actually, because whenever we had that many overtakes for the lead, you tend to see it on the F1 games where the drivers will just overtake lap after lap. But I was fully entertained for that. Quite loved it, quite liked it even. So got to lap 12, and this is where Isaac Hadjar, his car comes to a stop and the virtual safety car is deployed. And at this point, I'm thinking, right, the top 4 are all going to pit. Even if they double stack, they've got that much of a gap from the other drivers that they'll be absolutely fine. So Mercedes do just that, and they pit Russell and Antonelli. And you're thinking, Ferrari, you're going to pit your drivers, right? I should have known. Strategy was going to be a thing. They don't pit their drivers. Lewis Hamilton comes on the radio immediately saying, surely you should have pitted one of us at the very least. They haven't got a clue. And it's at this point, for me, this is where the strategists need to be sacked and fired, because this is the problem with Ferrari, is that they have terrible strategy. They may not have won the race, but they would have been in a better position to have won the race had they pitted both drivers. It made so much sense. I was sat on the edge of my seat thinking, yeah, you're going to pit. Sweet, cool. This is going to be interesting. But they did not. So after that, at lap 19, at this point, the race is done. Like, it's just a procession. George Russell is going to sail off into the distance. Not really happened too much, I guess. Like the gap between the leading Mercedes and the leading Ferrari was quite big. I think it was like 9 seconds or something like that. But again, it would have been closer if Ferrari had followed Mercedes into the pit, but they didn't do that. So what can you do? And I think this is going to be their downfall. Like, they have the potential to, on days like this, like, show what they're made of, but they're not going to take that opportunity, unfortunately. So the Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari's 3-4. Hamilton had fresher tyres than Leclerc by 3 laps, I think, and was slowly catching him over that last stint. And I feel like if there was a couple more laps, he probably would have overtaken him for the final podium spot. Antonelli was slowly catching Russell, but that was probably Russell just managing the pace, and he would have upped it if he got within a distance he felt that he was going to be threatened. So yeah, all in all, it was an entertaining race for the first 19 laps, but after that it was just not much more really happening. I was on my sofa fighting for my life to stay awake, but I still overall enjoyed the race, and I'm going to give this race a 3 out of 5. I wasn't expecting that. Australia's usually difficult to overtake at, but if these rules are anything to go by, when they get that much overtaking, I am all for it. So yeah, I'm giving it 3 out of 5. The group chat is divided on these regulations. So let me explain. So me being, I guess, a purist F1 fan, what does that even mean actually? But I'm used to drivers pushing flat out on the limit, giving it their all. This has become an energy saving battery formula. The formula's the formula, that's fine, I don't mind. If it's going to produce this much entertainment, I'm all for it personally. But I also understand the other side. It's like, it's not really showing the driver's skill, it's just showing their skill at pressing buttons and saving energy. It's only race 1. Australia was always going to be the toughest test for these rules, and if this is what the race has produced, then we should give it a bit more of a chance and not be so quick to judge it. But again, I just wanted to tell you what the group chat was saying, and also we all agree that Ferrari fumbled the bag in terms of this strategy. Like, so simple to just pit your cars and potentially get a race win, but no, you want to do nonsense and not do that and make it harder for you to try and get a win. So I do think that in terms of race pace, Mercedes were faster, 100% faster, but the fact that they couldn't pull away, it made it interesting to see how that potential fight for the race was going to develop. But it is what it is now. So yeah, and just wanted to mention, if you saw Colapinto's race start, how did he not crash into Liam Lawson? That was incredible car control. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go and YouTube it. But essentially what happened was Liam Lawson didn't get a good start, but Colapinto did. Colapinto was, I think I'm trying to remember this right, he overtook a car off the start, but then a wild Liam Lawson appeared. Had he not moved to the right, there's contact. He's going into the back of him, but he's gone to the right of Liam Lawson at the last minute. Bearing in mind, there's the barriers to the right of him as well, so that gap he's got to get through is quite narrow, and he managed to get through it fine. But after when I saw that, I was just like, wow, that is insane. But this is what the drivers were complaining of in pre-season testing that could potentially happen. Now, bearing in mind, this was a lucky escape this time round, but it's got the potential for the future to be an actual serious incident. So I wonder if the FIA are going to step in to do something about it, but who knows. But for now, as I said, giving this race a 3 out of 5. I was entertained. It's just a shame about the Ferrari strategy, but that's Ferrari doing Ferrari things. Anyway, that's enough for this video. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like, a subscribe, push your notifications on for when I upload, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.